The Whisky A Go-Go, Hollywood, California, October 1972. A Friday night that nobody who was there would ever forget. The legendary nightclub on Sunset Strip, known for launching careers and hosting rock royalty, is packed beyond capacity. But tonight isn't about music. Tonight is about something that hasn't happened before and will never happen again. Tonight, Michael Jackson, the 14-year-old singing phenomenon who has already conquered the world with the Jackson 5, is throwing a private party to celebrate the group's latest #1 hit. The guest list reads like a who's who of Hollywood: actors, musicians, producers, executives, all crammed into the VIP section of the club, drinking champagne, laughing, celebrating youth and success, and the intoxicating feeling of being untouchable. But standing at the entrance to that VIP section, blocking the velvet rope like a human wall, is a man who doesn't care about any of that. His name is Raymond the Mountain Walker. 350 pounds of former college football player turned professional bodyguard. 6'6", shoulders so broad he has to turn sideways to fit through most doorways, hands the size of dinner plates. He's been hired specifically for this event by Joseph Jackson, Michael's father, who is notoriously paranoid about security, especially when it comes to his golden goose, his youngest son, who is making the family millions. Raymond takes his job seriously, maybe too seriously. He's already turned away 3 people tonight who claimed to be on the guest list but whose names he couldn't find. He doesn't care if they're telling the truth. He doesn't care if they're famous. If he doesn't see your name, you don't get in. Simple, effective, and completely devoid of nuance or human judgment. At 10:47 p.m., a small figure approaches the velvet rope. The man is maybe 5'7", wearing a simple black turtleneck and dark slacks, moving with a grace that seems almost feline, deliberate, like every step is precisely calculated. His hair is perfectly styled, his posture impeccable. He looks like he could be a dancer, or maybe an actor, someone from the entertainment world. But Raymond doesn't recognize him. And Raymond prides himself on recognizing people. This small Asian man doesn't register, doesn't compute, doesn't belong. "Private party," Raymond says, his voice a low rumble, not even bothering to make eye contact. "Invitation only." The small man stops, looks up at Raymond with eyes that are calm, assessing, showing no intimidation despite the massive size difference. "I was invited by Michael," the man says quietly, his English perfect, his tone respectful. "Michael Jackson personally asked me to come." Raymond laughs, actually laughs, a harsh, mocking sound. "Sure he did, buddy. And I'm Elvis Presley. Move along. You're blocking the entrance." "I'm Bruce Lee," the man says, still calm, still respectful, but with a slight edge now. "If you check with Michael, he'll confirm." Raymond has heard the name vaguely. Something about Chinese movies, karate films. He doesn't watch that stuff. Action movies are for kids. This guy is probably just some wannabe actor trying to crash the party by claiming to know Michael. It happens all the time. Everyone in Hollywood knows someone who knows someone who knows Michael Jackson. "I don't care if you're Bruce Lee or Jackie Chan or whoever," Raymond says, stepping forward, using his size to intimidate. "You're not on my list, which means you're not getting in. Now step back before I make you step back." Inside the VIP section, Michael Jackson is laughing at something Quincy Jones just said, his high-pitched giggle cutting through the music and conversation. But then he glances toward the entrance and sees something that makes his smile freeze. Bruce Lee, standing at the velvet rope, talking to Raymond. Oh no. Michael had invited Bruce personally, had called him just yesterday. They'd met months ago through a mutual friend, and Michael had been fascinated by Bruce's philosophy, his approach to movement, the way he talked about martial arts as a form of self-expression, almost like dance. Michael had studied Bruce's films, had incorporated some of Bruce's movements into his own dance routines. Bruce Lee was one of Michael's heroes, and Raymond, his new bodyguard, who had been hired just 3 days ago, clearly has no idea who Bruce is. Michael starts moving toward the entrance, weaving through the crowd, his heart racing. He needs to get there before something bad happens, because Michael has seen Bruce demonstrate techniques, has seen him move, and he knows with absolute certainty that Raymond Walker has no idea what he's about to step into. Outside, the confrontation is escalating. "I'm telling you one more time," Raymond says, his finger now pointing at Bruce's chest, not quite touching, but getting close. "Turn around and leave, or I will remove you. And trust me, you don't want that." Bruce doesn't move, doesn't back up. His eyes are fixed on Raymond's face, reading him, analyzing the threat level, the ego, the pride that won't allow him to back down. Bruce has dealt with men like this before. Men who think size equals power. Men who have never been truly tested. "I don't want trouble," Bruce says quietly. "I'm just here to see my friend. If you call Michael out here, this will all be cleared up in 30 seconds. "I'm not bothering Mr. Jackson because some random guy claims to know him," Raymond says, and now his hand does reach out, his palm pressing against Bruce's chest, preparing to push. "Now move, or—" "Raymond, stop!" Michael's voice cuts through the noise of the club like a knife. He's running now, actually running, pushing past people, his security details scrambling to keep up. "Don't touch him! That's Bruce Lee! He's my guest!" Raymond's hand freezes, still touching Bruce's chest. He looks over at Michael, confused. "Boss, this guy says he knows you, but he's not on the list, and I was just—" "He's Bruce Lee!" Michael practically screams, finally reaching the velvet rope out of breath. "The martial arts legend! I invited him personally! He's one of the most famous people in the world!" Raymond looks down at Bruce with new eyes. Bruce Lee. The Bruce Lee. The guy from those kung fu movies that are playing in every theater. The guy all the martial arts schools in L.A. talk about. The living legend. Raymond's face goes pale. "Mr. Lee, I didn't recognize you. I'm sorry. I was just doing my job and—" "It's fine," Bruce says, his tone still calm, though his eyes haven't left Raymond's face. "You were protecting Michael. I respect that. But perhaps you should check with your employer before putting your hands on people." Michael steps between them, his face showing a mixture of embarrassment and relief. "Bruce, I'm so sorry. Raymond is new. He didn't know. Please come in. I've been waiting for you." Bruce nods and starts to move past the velvet rope. The moment should be over. The misunderstanding cleared up. Everyone can move on. But Raymond's ego, that terrible poison that has ruined so many men, won't let it go. Can't let it go. "Bruce Lee or not," Raymond says, his voice low enough that Michael doesn't quite hear it. But Bruce does. "You're still a little guy. In a real situation, size matters. And I'm still twice your size." Bruce stops walking. Michael, already a few steps ahead, doesn't notice. The music is loud. The party is calling. But Bruce heard every word. He turns slowly, looking back at Raymond, and for the first time tonight, Bruce's expression changes, not to anger, not to offense, but to something else. Something like sadness. Sadness for what's about to happen. "What did you just say?" Bruce asks quietly. Raymond, emboldened by the fact that Michael is out of earshot, by the fact that several other security guards are watching, by the need to save face after being corrected in front of everyone, doubles down. "I said you're a little guy. I've seen your movies, lots of jumping around, flashy kicks, wire work. But in a real fight, size and strength win. That's just physics. And I've got 180 pounds on you. So maybe you're famous, maybe you're fast, but don't mistake that for being able to actually handle yourself in a real confrontation." The other security guards shift uncomfortably. This is going somewhere bad. They can feel it. One of them, an older man named Carlos, who has been in the security business for 20 years, tries to intervene. "Raymond, man, just let it go. He's going to the party. It's over." "I'm just saying," Raymond continues, his voice getting louder, the alcohol he drank earlier giving him courage he shouldn't have. "These Hollywood kung fu guys, they're all about show. But I was a defensive lineman at USC. I've dealt with real violence, real power, and this little guy wouldn't last 5 seconds against someone like me." Bruce sets down the small gift he brought for Michael, a book about Wing Chun philosophy that he'd signed. He turns fully to face Raymond, and suddenly the temperature in the corridor seems to drop. "You want to test that theory?" Bruce asks, his voice still quiet, still controlled, but carrying a weight that makes everyone nearby stop talking and turn to look. "What?" Raymond says, caught off guard by the directness. "You're saying I wouldn't last 5 seconds against you," Bruce says, stepping closer. "I'm offering you a chance to prove it. Right here, right now. No rules, no referees, just you and me. And we'll see if size really is all that matters." Raymond laughs, but it sounds forced now. "You're joking. You want to fight me? Here? You'll get hurt, man. I don't want to be responsible for putting Bruce Lee in the hospital." "You won't be," Bruce says simply. "But I'm giving you a choice. You can apologize, we can both walk away, and you can keep your job and your dignity. Or you can try to prove your theory about size and strength. But if you choose option 2, you need to understand something. I won't hold back. And what happens next will be a lesson you'll remember for the rest of your life." The corridor has gone quiet. People are watching now. Word is spreading. Something is happening outside the VIP section. Michael, inside, is talking to someone, hasn't noticed yet. But others have. They're forming a circle, pulling out the ancient human instinct to watch combat, to witness confrontation. Raymond looks around. All these people watching. His fellow security guards. He can't back down now. Can't apologize. That would be admitting he was wrong. Admitting that he's scared of someone half his size. His pride, his ego, his need to maintain his image as the tough guy, the protector, the man who can't be challenged, makes his decision for him. "All right," Raymond says, removing his jacket, handing it to Carlos. "You want to do this? Let's do it. But don't say I didn't warn you." Bruce doesn't remove anything, doesn't stretch, doesn't warm up. He simply shifts his weight slightly, his hands coming up to a relaxed, ready position, and suddenly he doesn't look like a small man anymore. He looks like something concentrated, something distilled to its pure essence. Danger compressed into human form. Carlos tries one more time. "Raymond, Seriously, don't. You don't know what you're doing. This guy is— I know exactly what I'm doing, Raymond interrupts. Teaching a Hollywood fake what real fighting looks like. He moves forward with surprising speed for a man his size, his massive arms reaching out to grab Bruce, to use his wrestling background, to get his hands on the smaller man and use strength and weight to end this quickly. He never gets close. Bruce moves. Not a big movement, not a dramatic movie kick or a spinning technique, just a small, economical shift of his body. And suddenly, he's not where Raymond's hands are reaching. Raymond adjusts, trying again, lunging with more commitment. Bruce evades again, this time with even less movement. Like he's standing still, but Raymond's hands can't find him. Like trying to grab smoke. "Stand still," Raymond growls, frustrated, throwing a big looping punch, the kind that would knock out most people if it connected, the kind that has worked for him in every bar fight, every confrontation, every moment where he's had to use force. It doesn't connect. Bruce ducks under it easily, and in that motion, almost casual, almost as an afterthought, Bruce's hand snaps out. One strike. Precise. Focused. Not a big motion, just a whip-quick movement, and his fist makes contact with Raymond's solar plexus, the bundle of nerves just below the sternum. The effect is immediate and catastrophic. Raymond's eyes go wide. His mouth opens in a silent scream. The air explodes from his lungs in a sound like a balloon popping. His hands, which a second ago were throwing punches, drop to his chest, clutching, trying to understand what just happened. His legs, which have carried his 350-pound frame through football games and fights and countless confrontations, suddenly won't support him. He staggers backward, his face turning red, then purple, gasping like a fish out of water, unable to breathe, unable to process the pain, the shock, the complete shutdown of his diaphragm. Bruce doesn't follow up, doesn't need to, doesn't want to. He simply stands there, watching as Raymond drops to one knee, then to both knees, then forward onto his hands, on all fours on the floor of the Whisky a-Go-Go, wheezing, desperate for air. The entire confrontation, from Raymond's first lunge to his complete collapse, has lasted exactly 7 seconds. 7 seconds. The crowd that has gathered is completely silent. They've just witnessed something that shouldn't be possible. A 350-pound former football player, a man who makes his living through physical intimidation, reduced to a gasping heap on the floor by a single punch from a man who weighs 135 pounds. Carlos kneels down next to Raymond, checking on him, making sure he's breathing. "Just stay calm, breathe slow, it'll pass," Carlos says, his voice kind despite everything. He looks up at Bruce with something like awe. "What did you do to him?" "I hit him," Bruce says simply. "That's all." At that moment, Michael Jackson, finally noticing the commotion, pushes through the crowd. He sees Raymond on the floor, sees Bruce standing there calm and composed, sees the crowd of witnesses, and his face goes through several emotions in rapid succession: confusion, shock, understanding, disappointment, and finally, resignation. "Oh no," Michael says quietly. "Raymond, what did you do?" Raymond, finally getting some air back into his lungs, tries to speak. "He attacked me. I was just doing my job." Michael looks at the crowd. "What happened? Someone tell me what happened." Multiple voices speak at once, all telling the same story. Raymond confronted Bruce. Raymond insulted Bruce. Raymond challenged Bruce. Raymond threw the first punch. Bruce defended himself. 1 punch. 7 seconds. Over. Michael closes his eyes, takes a deep breath. When he opens them, he looks at Raymond with something like pity. You challenged Bruce Lee to a fight. It's not a question. It's a statement of fact. A statement of incredible stupidity. I didn't know he was serious, Raymond gasps, still on his knees. I thought he was just some actor. I thought the movies were fake. I thought... You thought wrong, Michael interrupts, his voice cold. And now you're fired. Carlos, get him out of here. Make sure he can breathe. Then get him off the property. And Raymond, consider yourself lucky. Bruce Lee held back. If he'd wanted to really hurt you, we'd be calling an ambulance right now. 2 security guards help Raymond to his feet. He can walk now, but barely, still holding his chest, still breathing shallow. As he passes Bruce, he tries to say something, maybe an apology, maybe an excuse. But Bruce simply looks at him with those same sad eyes. The eyes of a teacher watching a student fail a test they should have passed. Raymond is escorted out of the club. The crowd slowly disperses, already turning the story into legend, into something they'll tell for years. I was there the night Bruce Lee destroyed Michael Jackson's Bodyguard with 1 punch. Michael stands facing Bruce, embarrassment written all over his young face. Bruce, I am so sorry. I hired him 3 days ago. My father suggested him. I didn't know he was like this. I didn't know he'd... It's not your fault, Michael, Bruce says gently. You're 14 years old. You're not responsible for the actions of the adults around you. And Raymond didn't attack me because of you. He attacked me because of his own ego, his own need to prove something. That's on him, not you. But he worked for me, Michael says. He represented me, and he disrespected you, in my venue, at my party. That's unacceptable. Then you handled it correctly, Bruce says. You fired him. You took responsibility. That's all anyone can ask. Now, can we please go enjoy your party? I brought you a book I think you'll like. Michael's face lights up, the teenager pushing through the embarrassment. Really? What book? It's about Wing Chun philosophy, Bruce says as they walk toward the VIP section. About how martial arts is really about understanding yourself, about eliminating what's unnecessary and keeping what's useful. I thought it might resonate with you as an artist. They disappear into the VIP section. The party continues. The music plays. But something has shifted. Everyone at that party now has a story. A real story. Not gossip, not rumor, but something they witnessed firsthand. The night Bruce Lee, with 1 punch, taught everyone present a lesson about the difference between size and skill, between ego and mastery, between Hollywood fighting and real martial arts. Carlos, now the head of Michael's security detail by default, gathers the remaining guards. Listen carefully, he says. What you just saw. That's what happens when ego meets mastery. Raymond thought being big made him tough. He thought Bruce Lee was just a movie star. He learned different. Don't make the same mistake. Size doesn't matter. Muscles don't matter. What matters is skill, training, and humility. Remember that. Inside the VIP section, Bruce and Michael are talking, the party swirling around them. Can I ask you something? Michael says quietly. Of course. When Raymond challenged you, you could have just walked away. You could have let me handle it. Why did you accept? Bruce thinks for a moment. Because Raymond needed to learn a lesson, and not just Raymond. Everyone who was watching. Everyone who thinks that martial arts is just for show, just for movies. I could have walked away, yes, but then Raymond would have told himself, and everyone else, that I was scared, that my reputation was fake, that in a real fight, I would have lost. And that lie would have spread. So I gave him the opportunity to test his theory. And now he knows. And everyone who was there knows. The lesson was necessary. But you could have hurt him. Really hurt him. I could have, Bruce agrees, but I didn't. Because the goal wasn't to hurt him. The goal was to teach him. There's a difference. I used exactly enough force to stop the threat and prove the point. No more, no less. That's control. That's what separates a master from a brawler. Michael nods slowly, absorbing this. I want to learn that. Not the fighting, necessarily, but the control, the precision, the way you carry yourself, like nothing can touch you because you're so centered. Then study your art with the same dedication I study mine, Bruce says. Whether it's music, dance, acting, martial arts, the principles are the same. Eliminate what's unnecessary. Keep what's useful. Express yourself honestly. And never, ever let ego make your decisions for you. They talk for another hour. About movement. About performance. About the pressure of being young and famous. About dealing with people who want something from you. Who underestimate you. Who try to use you. About staying true to yourself in an industry built on illusions. At midnight, Bruce prepares to leave. Michael walks him to the door, past Carlos and the security team, who all nod respectfully to Bruce, their eyes showing a mixture of respect and wariness. Thank you for coming, Michael says, even though it turned into a mess. It didn't turn into a mess, Bruce says. It turned into a teaching moment, and those are valuable. Take care of yourself, Michael. And remember, size doesn't determine outcome. Skill does. In fighting, in music, in life. Bruce Lee walks out of the Whisky A Go-Go into the cool October night. Behind him, the party continues. The music plays. But the story has already started spreading. By morning, every martial artist in Los Angeles knows what happened. By the end of the week, the story has reached Hong Kong, Japan, Brazil, Europe. The details shift, get embellished, get exaggerated. But the core remains true. Bruce Lee, challenged by Michael Jackson's 350-pound bodyguard, ended the confrontation with one punch in 7 seconds. Raymond Walker, for his part, never works as a bodyguard again. Not because he can't get hired, but because he can't look at himself the same way. The man who thought he was tough, who thought size and strength were everything, learned in the most painful way possible that he was wrong. He eventually becomes a martial arts student himself, ironically, studying Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do, trying to understand what happened to him that night, trying to learn the lesson he should have learned without needing to be knocked to his knees. Years later, when asked about the incident, he tells the story honestly. I thought I was the toughest guy in the room, he says. I thought my size made me invincible. Bruce Lee taught me, in 7 seconds, that I knew nothing about real fighting. It was the most important lesson I ever learned, and I'm grateful for it, even though it hurt like hell. Michael Jackson, for the rest of his life, would tell the story to friends, to collaborators, to anyone who doubted Bruce Lee's abilities. I watched Bruce Lee destroy a 350-pound bodyguard with one punch, Michael would say. It wasn't a movie, it wasn't special effects, it was real. And it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen. The Whisky A Go-Go became a landmark location in Bruce Lee history. A plaque should have been placed there. On this spot, Bruce Lee demonstrated that mastery trumps size, skill trumps strength, and humility prevents stupidity. But no plaque was needed. The story itself became the monument, passed down from witness to student, from student to student's student, from generation to generation. The night at the Whisky A-Go-Go. The night Michael Jackson's Bodyguard learned what real martial arts looks like. The night Bruce Lee, with one punch in 7 seconds, reminded the world that legends earn their reputation for a reason. And somewhere in that story, in the retelling, in the way people's eyes light up when they describe it, there's a lesson, not about fighting, not about violence, but about the danger of ego, the danger of underestimating people, the danger of thinking that size or strength or title or position makes you better than someone else. Raymond Walker learned that lesson the hard way. But he learned it. And maybe that's worth something. Maybe that's worth 7 seconds of pain and a lifetime of humility. Because in the end, that's what martial arts is really about. Not defeating others, but understanding yourself, knowing your limitations, respecting others, and never, ever letting pride write checks your body can't cash. Bruce Lee knew that, lived that, taught that. And on a Friday night in October 1972 in a Hollywood nightclub, in front of witnesses who would never forget, he demonstrated it one more time. One punch, 7 seconds, a lesson that would last forever.